Hey YouTube, it's your girl Chic from Chic Say What. I am coming on tonight. Uh, this live is going to be to just provide some updates pertaining to just all that's been going on following Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival. I guess the concert with multiple artists performing. As many of us have already learned, it was a mess, and there were a number of people who were hurt, and more than enough did not even survive attending the event. And the death numbers looks like they're going up. Initially we were hearing that there were 8 people that had died. So today I've learned there's been a 9th person who's died. So I want to get into just all that comes with this whole situation. I've heard, many different people kind of talk about it, share their opinions and views. So I decided today to just come on and just share my thoughts. And, anybody else who happens to catch this live, if you have any thoughts you want to add in the chat, you're welcome. But it's a lot. Excuse me. It's a lot. And many people have the question as to who's at fault, behind all of this. You have some who feel like, Travis Scott's at fault. And then you have some people who feel like, okay, now maybe the individual concert goers, it's their fault, or I guess the promoter or the venue, whoever kind of put it all together. It's kind of like we're dealing with kind of like the blame game. But what I have been seeing so far is, and hearing is lawsuits being filed, and the lawsuits actually are going specifically towards Travis Scott and even Drake. So I know he was there, but he's getting some of that energy too, pertaining to this situation. So I have heard that even he's been named in some of the lawsuits. I'm not sure, as far as with Drake, how that one will stick as far as with, him being responsible. But I have heard his name come up in, some suits that have been filed. So that's what I want to get into today. I mean, the whole thing is just tragic. It's a mess. And from what I did learn, one of the victims was as young as 9 years old, a little boy who was trampled. And he's been left in the coma. So the last update I've seen was for yesterday, and it was stating that he was still in the coma, and his family has filed a lawsuit. So I have heard his family speak on it, in particular his grandfather, tell the story about, his grandson and his son and how they were kind of caught up in the whole situation at the Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival. According to Grandpa, his son took his grandson, 9-year-old. His name was Ezra Blount. So let me share my screen so you can see what I'm looking at right now. We can talk about Ezra. So this article reads, Travis Scott concert, 9-year-old boy trampled and left in coma Family Files lawsuit. So this was dated November 10th. Ezra Blount, a 9-year-old boy who went to Astroworld with his dad, has been left in a coma after being kicked, stepped on, and trampled and nearly crushed to death, according to a lawsuit. As previously reported by Monsters and Critics, the Astroworld Music Festival left 8 people dead after a crowd surge. Over 50,000 people were in attendance when crowd members were pushed towards the stage where rapper Travis Scott was performing, which led to hundreds of people being injured. Footage surfaced of unconscious people being lifted above the crowd as many screamed for help. Ezra Blount is one of the survivors, but the boy is in critical condition and was put into a medically induced coma after being rushed to Children's Hospital in Houston. According to a Rolling Stone article, Ezra was being carried on his father's shoulders when they became trapped during the crowd surge. Quote, he kept screaming, I can't breathe, but everyone was pushing. It was so tight with no exits. His dad couldn't breathe at all and passed out. We don't really know what happened to Ezra after that, his grandfather told publication. It is unclear how Ezra got to the hospital, but he was reported listed as a John Doe, a name given to unidentified victims until his father found him. Also, Reed goes on to say the 9-year-old boy's grandmother and nurse also pointed the finger at Travis Scott and criticized the rapper for continuing to perform while people were reportedly receiving medical attention in the crowd. Quote, excuse me, quote, why didn't Travis stop? Wasn't he watching the ambulance and people performing CPR? Doesn't he care about the city of Houston? The mayor gave him the key. This is a city he's from. Why wasn't he looking out for the people? End of quote. Ezra's grandmother claimed Ezra suffered from a heart attack and damaged several organs in his body due to being trampled. Wow. Travis Scott sued by Ezra's family. Let's see, the boy's family has retained the attorney Ben Crump, who represented George Floyd in a negligence lawsuit against concert promoter Live Nation, Travis Scott, and others. The family is reportedly seeking at least $1 million in damages. While many blame Scott for continuing the concert, others point the finger at the security or lack thereof. It's a mess. You know, it's sad and, you know, it's disheartening. It says Ezra grandfather told ABC 13 that there wasn't sufficient security and criticized the police for not stepping in to stop the show after individuals were injured. It is unclear what the rapper could see from his vantage point while performing to a crowd of over 50,000 people. That was another thing I wonder, you guys, is, excuse me, I know he's on a stage and he's standing, I guess, high. So with so many people in that crowd, I wondered what was his vantage point as far as what could he see or focus on, because when it's just a lot of people, but I imagine, I guess, seeing lights in the crowd would be something that wouldn't be able to go unnoticed versus like seeing that somebody kind of passed out. But yeah, that's something that I did think about as far as like, you know, what was it that he actually was able to see and hear? You know, I was hearing that they said people were kind of yelling out to him to stop, or I think there were some people who maybe even climbed up on some things to try to get his attention. So it's like, okay, at what point during all of this did he eventually kind of stop the show? Let me see. It says, let me see. It is unclear what the rapper could see from his vantage point while performing to a crowd of over 50,000 people. And it says, however, there is footage of sicko mode rappers stopping the show and telling security to check on injured ones. A GoFundMe has been launched to help cover Ezra's medical bills. So yeah, that was something I did kind of question myself as far as what did he see? When did he see it? In comparison to when he actually started to react to everything. So, like I said, there's so much going on out there, floating on around as far as like footage, people telling their stories. I've seen TikTok videos where people were kind of showing strange, kind of questionable things at the festival. I mean, it was a lot. It was crazy. Travis Scott isn't somebody that I'm familiar with like that when it comes to his music. I'm familiar with his name. To be honest, I'm actually most kind of familiar with him just from his relationship with Kylie Jenner. So other than that, when it comes to really his music, I don't really know him like that. So a lot of people kind of were questioning, say, parents choosing to allow their child as young as 9 to attend a Travis Scott concert, given that it's a Travis Scott concert. So apparently many are aware of, like, when you go to one of his shows, what the energy is like. So if you're familiar with what that energy is like or aware of it, then you like, nah, either you're not going, regardless of what age you are, or you're not going to approve for like somebody as young as like 9 or even like under, I guess, 17 to go. That's the thing. Because I did even learn that back from a 27 concert, there was a 17-year-old boy who was left paralyzed. And, that situation has kind of resurfaced. I didn't hear about all of that when it happened, but it's kind of come up recently. I guess people kind of, I don't know if they went out to try to get a comment from him, but I may be able to find that. But I have heard people speak on the 17-year-old who was left paralyzed following a concert. He fell off like a 3-story cliff or something like that and broke many bones. And he sued Travis Scott. Not sure how that worked out, but I believe that was 2017. Let me see if I can find that article. But that was something that I've learned in the coming days with all this. It's been just so much. So it's like I'm on here now kind of following. It's just like updates and new things, like literally like every day coming out about this story. So let me see what I can find. Halloween. Let me see, because I'm trying to see if I can find that article with the 17-year-old who sued Travis Scott following that concert. Let me see. 17-year-old left paralyzed following. So when I heard that, I'm like, wow. So I believe like he recently, people have gotten statements from this young guy who's like, okay, why are people still even trying to go to his concert? Why are parents taking their small kids? Like, why isn't Travis moving better? Like all of that. So let me see. Maybe this is something I can show you guys with this young man who was left paralyzed. Let's see. Is this a good article? Under fire. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Let me share my screen again because I'm going to show you this gentleman who's speaking out. I guess he's kind of, what's his name? Okay, so this is the young man I'm talking about. So this is an article from today from the U.S. Sun. Devastated. Who is Travis Scott 2017 concert goer? Kyle Green. So that's this young man's name, Kyle Green. So it reads, rapper Travis Scott came under fire in November 2021 after 9 people died while attending his Astroworld festival. As the investigation went on, many fans were reminded of Kyle Green, who had gotten injured at one of his concerts back in 2017 and was left paralyzed. Who is Travis Scott 2017 concert goer Kyle Green? Following the 2021 Astroworld tragedy, many fans attacked Scott, saying that he should have done more to prevent the deaths and chaos that erupted. As authorities continued their investigation, a haunting video resurfaced from 2017 where the rapper reportedly told fans to jump from the balcony onto the crowd below. What? I can't. The request left one concertgoer paralyzed, and his identity was later revealed as Green, 27, who felt tremendous sadness following the recent event. Our client, Kyle Green, is devastated and heartbroken for the families of those who were killed and for those individuals who were severely injured. Green's attorney, Howard Hershenhorn, said in a statement. He's even more incensed by the fact that it could have been avoided had Travis learned his lesson in the past and changed his attitude about inciting people to behave in such a reckless manner. Hershenhorn told Fox News that his client is angry because this could have been prevented if Scott had learned his lesson from the past. So, what happened to Kyle at the concert? At the time of the concert, Green was 23 and claimed that Scott encouraged the absolutely packed audience to get closer to the stage and jump from the above balcony. I see you, but you are going to do it, Scott was heard saying in the since deleted Twitter video. They're going to catch you. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. As a result, Green was forced over the edge as the crowd surged forward and fell from a 3rd floor balcony and hit the floor. It was later reported that he had suffered multiple injuries, including a fractured vertebrae, a broken left wrist, and a fractured right ankle. Green was then allegedly pulled out of the crowd by Scott's security, who reportedly did not use a neck brace or backboard. Green's attorney later said he was carried around like a sack of potatoes. According to court documents obtained by Today, Green then filed a lawsuit against Scott and others, alleging that Scott incited mayhem and chaos through his conduct. Allegations he has since denied. The case is still pending with a deposition scheduled for December 2021. So look, like all of this mayhem with the Astro Festival has happened right before it's time for him to reconvene pertaining to this lawsuit from a previous concert. Ain't that crazy? Like, you already got a whole situation pertaining to madness going on at one of your shows. And before you can even get to your upcoming court date, you got some other mess going on with another show. Like, make it make sense. So this is Kyle in the hospital. Yes, following, the incident in 2017. Officials in Texas said the crowd began to compress towards the front of the stage at around 9:15 p.m., sparking panic among the 50,000 concert goers. So this is the details pertaining to the 2021 concert. As a result, 17 people were rushed to the hospital, with 11 of them in cardiac arrest. Hundreds more were reported injured as young as 10. Excuse me. So this 10-year-old, I'm assuming, is most likely the 9-year-old that I was talking about earlier that's still in the coma. Following the incident, Scott took to social media to address the situation, revealing that he was unaware that people had died, which is why the concert still went on. He said, "My fans really mean the world to me, and I always want to leave them with a positive experience anytime I can make out anything that's going on. I stopped the show and help them get the help they need, you know." Scott, whose real name is Jaquez Berman Webster II, later added that he is working with authorities and asked his fans to do the same. Quote, "If you have any information, please just contact your local authorities. Everyone continue to just keep your prayers," he continued. So from my understanding, there's an investigation going on pertaining this matter. But my question is, what is expected to come out of this investigation? Like, I really, to me, the investigation is only going to, conclude, okay, if there was security, how many was there? Confirm pushing and shoving. At what point did Travis realize something was going on in the crowd? And at that point, did he react? Like, I don't know. I'm just curious to see, as far as from this investigation, what's to come out of it. I honestly don't feel like there's going to be any criminal charges that are going to come out of it, towards like anyone in particular, Travis Scott or Drake, but Travis Scott. I don't see, I don't see that there's going to be any criminal charges coming. If anything, monetary, lawsuits or whatever, as we see that's going on. But that's it. And he got all the money in the world. So that's not going to be anything for him. So it's just going to be another poor concert that's going to be, under his belt following this. Like, that's it, unfortunately. And as far as with the lawsuits against him, I feel like those will be successful. I kind of think it's kind of low, the $1 million that they're saying the family for the 9-year-old boy Ezra, that his family is filing. I personally think $1 million is very low, because once you pay that, when that's awarded, then you pay out, the attorney. Okay, then I don't know if medical bills would be something separate from the suit, but to me, $1 million it's not a lot to me. That's not enough. So I'm pretty sure other people coming at him for more than $1 million. And when it comes to fault, personally, it's his event. It has his name on it. As from I've seen, there's a history of just craziness popping off at the concert. With all of that being said, I put him at fault, just like, I was telling someone, let's say you hold a house party, something at your house, and something goes down, somebody trips and falls in your house, on your stairs, whatever it happens. If they're in your home, you're at fault. That's where your homeowner's insurance come in. Like, they can file a claim against you. So I look at this as kind of no different. This was an event that he put on. And because he put on this event, he is the one who is obligated for, or responsible for like the safety and things that do go on at this event. So if it's your event, you want to put your best foot forward, make sure your security on point, safety, you want to make sure that you're in compliance with any rules, regulations. You want to protect yourself because when you're putting on this event, you are the one liable, which I would imagine, I would hope that, artists who put on shows, that there's some type of something in place. I don't know if it would be insurance or something to where, that's in place to cover incidents. Say if things were to happen where, people can kind of get compensated. To me, it makes sense. Whether or not that's a thing, I don't know. But I fall on the side of, I feel like, he's responsible for this. So now, whether or not there's other people you can name as well, that may be the case. But I definitely feel like he is someone who should be named in the lawsuit. So I would say, him. I guess the venue or whoever owns the Astroworld. But definitely, I don't feel like he needs to be left out. From what I've heard, he is offering to pay for funeral expenses for those who did not survive. Let me share this article on this recent. There's another person who has been reported recently to have died. They didn't make it. So 9th victim died. Travis Scott's Astroworld Festival. So this is on Billboard.com. So Bharti Shahani died Wednesday, attorney James Lassiter said during a news conference. So this is updated for today. 22-year-old college senior who was critically injured at the Astroworld Festival in Houston has died. The family lawyer said Thursday, November 11th, making her the 9th person to die in a crowd surge after fans pushed towards the stage during a performance by headliner Travis Scott. Bharti Shahani died Wednesday, attorney James Lassiter said during a news conference. Bharti was a shining star in the community. Lassiter said she was a sister, a daughter, a high-achieving college student about to graduate from Texas A&M University with high grades. Wow. Hundreds of others were injured in the surge Friday night as Scott took to the stage. Criminal investigation to the deaths at Astroworld is underway. Scott was only minutes into the headlining show at the Astroworld Music Festival when at least one Houston officer radioed over a police channel that the main stage had been compromised by a massive crowd surge. The police radio traffic from the Friday night concert obtained by the Houston Chronicle reveals how quickly law enforcement became aware of the rising danger in the throng of concertgoers shortly after the star rapper began performing at a sold-out musical festival, which drew about 50,000 people. Hundreds of other fans were injured as a mass of bodies pressed towards the stage, and nearly a week later, at least 2 were still in critical condition. They include 9-year-old boy whose family says was placed in a medically induced coma. Authorities have opened a criminal investigation but have not yet assigned any fault. Scott took to the stage in his hometown of Houston shortly after 9 p.m. Quote, look like folks are coming out of the crowd complaining of difficulty breathing, crushing type injuries, one official said over the police radio around 9:20 to 21 p.m. According to the audio obtained by the newspaper, seems like the crowd is compressing on itself. Scott kept performing his set, which lasted about an hour. So they said this all started minutes after he got on stage, but Scott was up there for like an hour. His attorneys have said he did not know about the tragedy unfolding in the crowd until after the show. So imagine that's going to be something that's going to have to be proven. You have to prove, what he was able to see footage of people making him aware. See, the newspaper reported that officers spotted people leaving the crowd, but their voices remained calm through the first half hour. Quote, I'm at a medical tent when officer radioed in around 9:30 p.m. There's a lot of people trampled and they're passed out at the front stage. End of quote. Later, another officer said, quote, we're getting multiple reports of people getting injured. We have another report of cardiac situation with CPR by the stage. Houston Police Chief Troy Fenner said Wednesday that the police told organizers to shut down the performance when fans in the crowd were administered CPR. Authorities gave word around 10:03 that the concert was in process of shutting down, but witnesses say Scott and Drake, the superstar rapper who came on towards the end of Scott's set as a special guest, kept performing. So I guess that's where Drake come into play, where people want to sue him because he, I suppose, they're saying, I guess he was aware of knowing that things wasn't quite right out there. So again, that kind of, I guess, goes into the investigation of trying to prove when Drake and Travis both became aware that there were severe injuries, like people getting hurt, passing out, all of that. You got to prove, I guess, that they were aware of that. Fenner repeatedly refused to provide timelines Wednesday until what was just in his second press briefing since the tragedy, saying the case was still under investigation. He said more than 500 officers were working the festival, more than double the number signed in 2019, the last time the festival was held. But Fenner said festival goers had not provided clear records of how many private security guards were working the show, describing what they turned over as just not good. It was up to Live Nation Entertainment, the show's promoter, to secure 2 mosh pits in front of the stage, Fenner said. Scott's attorney on Wednesday pointed to an operational plan for the event that states only the festival director and executive producers have the authority to stop the show, neither of which is a part of Travis's crew. Wow. That's interesting. So investigation should start. So it's quote, investigation should start proceeding over finger pointing so that together we can identify exactly what transpired and how we can prevent anything like this from happening again. Attorney Edwin McPherson said in a statement. Officials have not disclosed details about the fans who have been hospitalized since Friday, but the family of the 9-year-old boy who attended the concert with his father has said the child was in a medically induced coma after sustaining injuries to his heart, lungs, and brain. So about that lawsuit, that was going to be interesting, given that the attorney is saying that Travis didn't really have the ability to stop the concerts, to stop the show, that only the festival director and executive producers have the authority to stop the show. So with that being said, and then also, would have to, I guess, come out in the investigation is if anything was said to the crowd to encourage them to just start just doing the absolute most. So that's going to be another thing as well. Because, like I said, I guess the energy of the lawsuits may have to be turned over to, I guess, the festival director and executive producers. It's going to be really interesting to see how this play out. And clearly, I guess it's probably going to be a long haul because old boy who been in a wheelchair since 2017 still hasn't even gotten closure to his case 3 years later. And his court date isn't, next court date isn't until next month. So this is something that could easily, carry on for, as we see, at least 3 years, unfortunately. It's crazy. I just hope that in the meantime, between now and then, there's no more Travis Scott shows, because uh, from what I'm seeing, uh, the energy that comes along with his shows just ain't it. It's just not it. So he may have to just fall back from doing concerts, because it's not cool if history shows that anytime somebody attends a concert, that somebody gonna be left not able to walk or paralyzed, or worse yet, not even come home, period, because they didn't survive the experience. Then no, we don't need to be having any shows. No, no, it just ain't even safe for you to even have a show, because right now we got we got multiple cases now. We're about to have multiple cases pending pertaining to injuries from your shows. Like, by the time all these people sue, I don't know how much money he gonna have left, So, I mean, because it's a lie. And I would imagine even the people who were injured may possibly, file a lawsuit. So you can pretty much count on the ones who didn't survive, their family filing a lawsuit. So that's going to go without, no brainer. But those who are injured, I would imagine those people would jump on a lawsuit as well. So at the end of the day, it's going to be millions of dollars that he's going to be out. But the first payout, imagine, is going to be going, towards Kyle, the young man who's in a wheelchair and who's still fighting his case. So they going to have to get in line behind him. It's crazy. It's insane, but I don't know what to say. It's just something that I just can't even imagine being in a place like that, and all of this going down. It's just sad. Just like the more information that I hear that come out pertaining to the whole situation, the more disturbed I am, because it's just like stuff that I never heard of before. Like, what? Like, and I wonder, how many young people, little kids, were in the house, at that concert. And, coming from the parents, what made them feel comfortable enough to take their child into that type of environment? Had they done it before? Had they been before and they felt like, oh yeah, I've gone previous years? And because from my understanding, this is something he's been doing for some years now, with holding a show, the Astroworld show. So excuse me, I would really like to hear the rationale as far as, the parents who did make the decision for their little ones to go, why? Because I don't know. I've never been, so I don't really know how that energy is there. So I can't speak on it. I know people take their kids to, concerts, music festivals, all the time. I've never done it before, but I know people do. So to each his own. But I have been hearing, people kind of question a child as young as 9 attending that type of concert. So apparently, those people know something I don't know, as far as with the energy there, that makes them say, nah, you don't take a baby that small to a Travis Scott concert. So unfortunately, the most I've really come to learn about Travis Scott has been the result, has been following this whole Astroworld festival situation, catastrophe, debacle, whatever you want to call it. And it's sad that that's kind of how I had to kind of get to know like who this young man is. Because Travis, he's pretty young. But it's just sad that many people are kind of getting to know who he is as a result of this incident. It's kind of like when a lot of people like will have these artists that pass away, And it's just like, oh, wow, you know, you never even heard of them prior to. And then it's like you're learning about them kind of on the back end. So that's kind of the energy I have when it comes to Travis Scott. It's like learning about him in a conversation of people wanting to cancel him because of this situation. Um, I'm one of those people that believe, you know, as far as when you have a cancel culture, like I kind of feel like for the most part, you can kind of come back from kind of anything. I've seen so many people come back from a lot of craziness. It just comes down to, you know, I guess how you go about trying to get back in the good graces of people, laying low for a minute. I don't think personally, I don't feel like this will end Travis Scott's career. And I honestly feel like if he were to have a concert a year from now, people would still go. Like sometimes crazy stuff happens to where you can't even explain it, to where you're like, now, why are people even more energized to even be a part of something following the like it, where you just can't make sense of it, where sometimes negativity kind of intrigues people. So I feel like in a year from now, if Travis Scott's put on a concert, it'll still sell out or do well like it normally does. And a lot of people would just want to go just out of curiosity or just to say they went or were there. You know, it's just crazy, you know. It's a crazy thing, but I don't feel like this whole situation is going to like end his career or anything like that. I think he'll just have to lay low for a minute. He's from what I've heard, I heard his when he did like a live when he was kind of apologizing and things like that. He talked about being wanting to be there financially to help the families out and things. So I feel like if Travis Scott come through like he said he is, as far as with financially being there for the families, as he said that he would, I don't really feel like it's going to take a hit to his career. We're just talking about him a lot now, but as I believe, you're only as big as the until the next big story hits. So he's the big story right now. Everybody's talking about him, but it's only a matter of time before something will pop off with somebody else, and we won't be talking about this like this anymore. It will be moved on. Like, listen, I always say, you know, people have a short attention span. So it doesn't take long before something else goes on in the world that kind of becomes a big issue, and it kind of replaces that last big issue. So that's why I say it's really not hard to really try to really overcome things. You know, there's been other people in the past, other artists in the past who's been associated with deaths or things that have taken place at their shows. I think I've heard it come up that I think Ariana Grande had something crazy happen at one of her shows. I think it was a bombing or something. Like, I think years ago, Puff Daddy had something happen at something he was throwing. So, I mean, these are people who are still around and are on the scene. So I do feel like, you know, you can come back. You can come back from all of this. It's just the energy that you give, I guess, early on, you know, if you're showing sincerity, doing what you can to kind of rectify a situation, pan out all those little things. So Travis is, you know, he just got to sit down for a minute. Now, I do feel like he needs to start moving differently for sure. I think that he needs to do better when it comes to the organizing of his shows, you know, because what just happened at his show, that's not normal. You know, we don't really hear that popping off like that at other shows, hip hop shows, any kind of shows. Like, when the last time we heard of something like this happening? But so a lot of this is coming down to negligence, I feel. So he has to do better pretty much in that area. And then you have separate conversations pertaining to the why. Is people linking it to, sacrificial things taking place. That's going to be something also. I don't know if the investigation would incorporate that. How do you prove that? So at the end of the day, my prediction is that there's not going to be any criminal charges against anybody, but there will be a lot of money loss um, from, Travis Scott. I feel like, it's going to be in the millions, but he has it. Let's look up. Let me see, what is Travis Scott worth? I think I heard someone say he was worth like 60 million. So let's look that up and see what Travis is worth. Because, whatever his payout is, I mean, it's going to be a lot, but I don't think it's going to be enough to like bankrupt him, because especially if he's worth like 60 million. That's a lot of money. So, let's just say if he put out, amongst everybody a cool like 20 million, he's still financially good. And even though we may not hear from or see him for a minute, he's still making money. He still has music out there. And I would be surprised, as I say, the way people's brains work, his streams and all of that could have probably gone up by now. You know how people do, just when negativity things happen. Even like I had heard, like with R. Kelly, when he got sentenced, like his streams went up, I think like 300%, something ridiculous. So, okay. So let me share my screen. So I looked up his net worth. So let me share my screen so you can see what I came across with his net worth. So this is showing what, 60 million, like I was saying. Let's see. Okay, so this article said, here's how much Travis Scott made from Astroworld before performing to pay for victims' funerals. So I did hear also that he had reimbursed, or he was reimbursing everybody in attendance their money back, excuse me, for the ticket. So I did hear that. So let's see what this says. Here's how much. Let's see if it talks about the amount of money. Okay, so let me get this. Since launching Astroworld Festival in 2018, Scott has earned millions from the annual concert event. According to Forbes, Astroworld's grossed a total of 53.5 million in 2019 alone. So let's just say his lawsuits, excuse me, his lawsuits I would say would be less than that. So, and that's just 1 year's worth of what money? While the festival was canceled in 2020, it still sold out prior to the cancellation. Initial earnings from its 2021 Astroworld Festival, meanwhile, have yet to be disclosed, but Celebrity Net Worth reports that the rapper has made around 65 million overall from the festival. So, I feel like, with all the lawsuits and everything, he may, he might be able to, as far as with taking care of everybody who come at him, might be at, let's just say 25 million, after paying out everybody that might come for him. So it's definitely not going to shut down the show for him. He's still going to be financially good. And then, like I said, he's still making money from other things, music. So so what is Travis Scott's net worth in 2021? According to Celebrity Net Worth, Travis Scott's net worth in 2021 is 60 million, making him one of the highest paid rappers in the world due to his lucrative album sales, touring revenue, and partnership deals with brands like McDonald's and Fortnite. His partner Kylie Jenner is worth a whopping 700 million by comparison, per Forbes. So he's good. Clearly his girlfriend is good. So it's definitely not going to end the show for him, financially or career wise. I don't think, even though people may want it to, I don't think it will. Just like I said, people kind of forgive and forget pretty easily. And especially if they like you like that, because you got a lot of people who, from conversations I'm hearing, that not really faulting him like that. And then we too, what's going to make a difference too with is how this investigation turns out. If this investigation concludes otherwise. Hey, Nisi Q, don't you find it so interesting how no one, Black people, really listened to him and he got so famous? Yes. Yes, Nisi. You say it's like it happened out of nowhere. I was just surprised. Like I said, I didn't even know about him. Really, my first time ever hearing about him is back when he first hooked up with Kylie Jenner. And then, okay, that was that. And then as far as from a music standpoint, his fan base, I came to learn all of that once all of this popped off with this festival. And, I learned kind of what his fan base, they called it like rave music or something like that. So I'm like, okay, so, but listen, I guess them white kids must have made him rich, because what they say, Black people don't be buying music. What they say back in the day used to say, Black people, we don't support, we don't buy albums, we bootleg stuff or whatever. But nowadays you got streams, stuff like that. So I don't think really people are necessarily you're going out buying CDs anymore. It's now about your streams and stuff like that. So it seems like, and I noticed that the faces that they were showing of the people who died, yeah, they were like Hispanic, white. I don't think I've seen any Black ones who had died. And then there's a little Black boy who's in the coma. So, but that is the talks of a lot of people, is like, as far as what his fan base looked like. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, you say you found out from one son, Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things, it's like where people finding out about people in tragedy. Like I was saying, if you were on earlier, like when artists die, like say rapper Nipsey Hussle, I literally I had just heard his name right when I had learned that Lauren London was pregnant. And then in the media, this is like months before Nipsey died, I learned she was pregnant. And then I was curious to know who she was pregnant by. So I did a Google search on who's Lauren pregnant by, because I hadn't even heard her name in a while. And then there was a picture of her at like a basketball game sitting next to this man who was said as a rapper named Nipsey Hussle. So I'm like, who was that? That was that. Never heard the man name for it. So then when he passed away, it's just like after that, you just constantly hear his name left and right. And it's just sad that a lot of times during tragedy, that's kind of when you come to hear about people or learn about people. And it's just unfortunate that that's how you get to know them. But from what I've heard, as far as when it comes to Travis Scott, his music, unlike Nipsey Hussle, his music was more on a darker side. Like it was a different type of energy that came with his music versus say like a Nipsey Hussle, where you mostly heard about, his stuff being more of like a positive type thing. But with Travis Scott, I'm hearing that like his stuff is more dark, like, I guess the stuff that the non-Black kids are kind of really into. But that was the same thing too with Triple X Tentacion, where I kind of didn't know about him either until once he passed on. And the crazy thing about him, the first time I heard his name, I was working at a mental health hospital, and I was counseling a patient with his family. And the mom said that the music art that her son was suicidal, and the artist that he liked to listen to was Triple X Tentacion. This is before his death, and I had never heard that name. So I'm like, okay. So fast forward, I guess Triple X died maybe like, it's probably would have been like maybe like 3 years later. And then I'm like, wow, that's that artist that the parent said that her son liked to listen to. Again, I had never heard of him. So it's just unfortunate when you're hearing about these people and, it's kind of like after the fact. Yeah. Do you think that little Niecy cute? Here's my thing. I honestly think it. I don't think he's going to make it where he's going to be able to come off the machine and live the life that he was living before. I think it's going to be one of those things to where he'll be living off of a machine. Like, you know how well, sometimes families are put in situations where they have to decide, do they want to continue to let their loved one live through a machine? Or do they want to accept the fact that their son is no longer here and that basically they have to come to grips or decide if they want to just let their child go to a better place because they don't want them to just be on this earth living on a machine. Like, that's a tough decision. It was a decision actually we had to make for my father-in-law some years back because he had already made the decision of said that, if anything happened, that's not how he wanted to live. And that's basically kind of what was keeping him alive. Me personally, I'm kind of one of those people, if that's what's keeping my loved one alive and it's carried on for a good length of time, I would rather kind of let them go on, or even for myself, rather the family kind of let me go on and cross over versus kind of living like that. Because actually, I just learned today, there was a little boy, his name, was his name Judah or something? I saw on, I think it was Paris Milan page, he posted that he had died. So he had drowned or something last August. And his situation reminded me of Ezra's as far as being on the machine, but he was showing signs of progression and everything. And then next thing you know, the Lord called his name, and then he was no longer, he died. Like, Paris Milan posted that today. You can on her community page. But I think he was 5 and he had drowned, but he had never recovered from that brain, that situation. So that story made me think of Ezra. So to answer your question, no, I don't think he's going to be the Ezra that the family knew for him to be prior to going to that show. You said, oh yeah, a younger person was telling me that Sickle made was about raging. I had no idea. Nah. I obviously wasn't listening to the words enough. I think the only music I've even heard, probably even with Travis Scott's, is some music where, you'll have multiple artists doing collaborations, and he was like one of them. But as far as like, I can't tell you like a Travis Scott song like I would be able to, like Drake or somebody like that. So listen, I'm in the same boat as you. I don't know nothing about that man. Wow, did he go brain dead? So I'm thinking that the little boy Ezra went, is brain dead. The article, they're saying he's in a medically induced coma. So to me, medically induced coma is, to me, kind of, it makes me think of somebody being kind of brain dead and you're needing help from something else, like to help you breathe, do all that, because your brain is what's communicating for all these other things in your body to work. So since you're on a machine, it's kind of doing it for you because you can't do it on your own. So sis, I don't see him coming back from that, unfortunately. I don't. I have a feeling that he will make 10. Yeah. So I don't think he's going to make it. Yet. I don't think he's going to make it either. It's unfortunate. And at this time, there's tough decisions that the family has to decide on. Like, they have to really think about, like, okay, what are we going to do? Like, though, you got to have some serious conversations, some tough conversations that you don't want to have. But like I said, for me, I wouldn't want my loved one to live like that. No. especially when you knew your loved one, the way they spoke on, you know, to be a bright, you know, a child, like it's, that's not how, just to me, I would feel for, as me being a mom, a parent, if it was my child, I would feel like I were being selfish to keep him holding on and living like that. I would just rather let him cross over and have my memories of him and how he was prior to the accident. So that's just me. And I know for myself, if it were me, I wouldn't want my family to kind of keep me hanging on like that. I would rather just, you know, them to let me go and not keep it on. So it comes down to, okay, well, how long do you hold on? That's the thing. That part's in the air. Is going to go off of, you know, conversations with doctors, things like that. And then, you know, conversations with, you know, close family, you know, if you have a spouse. But it's a tough situation that I wouldn't want to ever be in, and I wouldn't wish that on anybody. But, you know, it's something that the family do have to deal with. And I can only imagine they're dealing with the best way they can these days. Nisi said, did you see the news press conference for the 9th victim? I did. I don't know. You may not have been on my live when I talked about that 9th victim, the 22-year-old college student. So see that. So we're up to 9. Her family has a lawyer. So like I said, I believe all the families for the 9 victims who didn't make it, they're going to sue. And then also believe some of them other 300 and people who got hurt going to sue too. So old boy going to be out of a lot of money. But as I looked into, you know, just showed, if you were on at this time, you know, his net worth is estimated at about 60 million. He's good for the payout as far as with the money. I don't think it's going to bankrupt him or anything. But he's going to be out a lot of money, but I don't think it's going to stop him from working. He's going to still be able to eat. He'll still work. People will still continue to support him. Seem like he has a strong fan base, but I don't think this incident is going to kind of cancel him. Should it? I don't know. I mean, I think it's just going to come down to like how he handles this whole situation. I think he should be financially, you know, responsible with taking care of whatever he needs to take care of. But should it sit him down forever? You know, I don't know. I'm not a fan of his, so I don't have an opinion on that. To each his own. I was hurt too. ECQ said, right, neither. I wouldn't want to live that way either. Yeah, but his soul payout. Yeah. It's just a multiple layers to this whole situation, you know, different angles that people are taking it. You know, it just wasn't a concert that let me just say, I wouldn't have wanted to be. And I appreciate going to concerts. I'm going to go to a concert in December that will be here. I'm in Atlanta, so there'll be like a concert in December with a lot of the Atlanta artists and things that will be here. I think it's like December 20th. So I'm going to be at a concert. I hadn't been to one since like pre-pandemic. So I like concerts. It's just, you know, you just got to be responsible. You got to move. You got to be alert. I don't like to go and be in environments where people are doing the absolute most. I don't like to be in environments that bring out like a lot of kids. So I'm kind of picky on the type of concerts that I attend. And I play it pretty safe. You know, I'm a grown woman. Even when I was much younger, in my 20s, you know, I'm responsible. So I play it safe, you know, but this was a concert experience from hell, to say the least, for lack of a better word. And, yeah, Atlanta has a lot of concerts, don't they? Atlanta has a lot of concerts. They do. They have them all the time. I think Tiana Taylor got something going on at the end of this month. But yeah, it's going to be a big concert. It's going to be like, what's the name? Let's see what's the name of that concert. I know it's going to be Escape. So let me see. Let me see what concert it is. It's going to be a huge concert. Escape concert. Let's look up the name. December. Because every year in December, because I've gone to one before where it was like Chris Brown was like the headliner, where it'll have multiple artists, like a winter fest type thing they'll do here. So I've gone before, my sisters. So this year the lineup just kind of changes each year with the, you know, with the people who are in attendance to it, but they always do it like in December. So trying to see, it's called the Holiday Jam. Let me see. So I'm hoping for the best with that. Let me see who's on the jam. Atlanta, who's on the lineup. So it's nothing, you know, from the people I'm aware of who's going to be there. It's not like this crazy, you know, this crazy lineup to where I'm kind of concerned about, you know, people getting being reckless. Like, okay, so the singer Monica will be there. Escape will be there. I think Jacquees will be there. Belle Biv DeVoe will be there. So, you know, the lineup was pretty cool. You know, a lot of artists, a lot of them that kind of had been around, you know, more mature artists that's kind of been around for a minute. So I'm not expecting no madness or nothing like that taking place, but it's a concert. So you just got to be on your P's and Q's when you go to a concert. But I think when you have your assigned seating, things like that, it's more controlled versus like that festival situation where it looked like people were kind of on their feet, kind of looking ahead. Like I don't go to stuff like that. Like I kind of more so be in environments where you have your designated areas, and it seems like it's safer from looking at the way this went down when you can account for, you know, the spacing and where people should be at any given time. It seems like it'd be easier for even with security, with keeping an eye on things, you know, people can have their sections. It just seemed like it's a more controlled environment when people have like assigned seating. So that's pretty much in Atlanta. The concerts that we have, they're mostly kind of going to be like that. Now, we do have what's known as like Centennial Park, where they'll do shows and concerts, things like that. I don't even go to those type of shows or events, but that is a thing they have out here too. Usually I think they might do stuff like that during like the warm weather times, but they'll have like outdoor shows. I think when we hosted the Super Bowl here, they had some things going on. So I didn't go and get into all that. That's not my thing. Typically when you kind of got like a free for all type, open type situation. Nah, I like more of the controlled environment. That's just, you know, my preference. Niece Q said, that's funny. Travis Scott's real name is Jacquees. Yes, it is. But our Atlanta Jacquees don't be doing all that. Like you ain't getting that kind of energy from up out of him. So that's good. And people can never say his name right. Yeah. Nah, I mean, so I think I seen him at that concert, the last winter one I told you they had in 20, when was that? 20, it was 19 or 18 I went to. And that was a really good show. So so yeah, I'm expecting for it to be pretty cool when we go to the December one. But you know, coming off of this whole situation, you know, it has me kind of being extra cautious, it has me to want to be extra cautious when I do go. But you know, I'm going with a group of people, and my husband, I'm taking him along. So, you know, I will have, you know, a man there and somebody to kind of look out, you know, for me and, you know, my peeps, my family, you know, if things start popping off. But you just got to be careful. That's the moral of the story. You just got to be careful, make good decisions, be alert, take note, as my husband always say, of all the exits in the room, in the facility, in the venue, things like that. So I'm expecting for it to go well. I've never been to a concert here in Atlanta, and it didn't. So they pretty much kind of do well with the concerts here in Atlanta. I will say that. Yeah, and I've watched footage of concerts at Centennial Park. Yeah, Centennial Park, I haven't, even their concerts there, I hadn't really known for anything crazy happening even at their parks. That Travis Scott situation, that was just on some whole other stuff, because you can have things run smoothly, if you do what you're supposed to do, and not skimp on when you have your security and all of that. And I will say Atlanta don't be playing, our mayor, Keisha Lance Bottom is the current mayor, but pretty much any mayors that we've even had even prior to, like, they don't be playing them games like that. Like, when you're coming to Atlanta, they looking for you to act accordingly. They don't play. And we've all seen T.I. get up on the news, and he dang sure don't play about you coming to Atlanta doing the most and tearing up his city. He said you better go somewhere with that. So I would say for the most part, Atlanta, we have a lot pop off here. I live on the outskirts in the metro Atlanta part, but I'll go to the inner city for, like, of course, for the concerts, things like that. But I would say for the most part, when it's an event, the city of Atlanta does very well with managing it and making sure that it goes pretty smooth. It's like very little incidents that you're going to hear about. I've never heard of anything remotely coming close to what popped off with the Travis Scott event. Like I said, they don't be playing like that here in Atlanta. So that is a good thing. Yes, I'm thankful for that. Yeah, Keisha Lance Bottom hasn't left it. She said she was out. Yeah, she's out. I mean, I guess she'll be out by the end of this year. They're doing the runoff right now for Atlanta with the mayors. So there's two, a woman and a man. Kasim Reed, the people voted a no for him for him to come back. So it's a woman. It's either two new people who are kind of having to do a runoff whenever that's going to be. But I'm not city of Atlanta, so I don't have to kind of vote for all that. So not sure when that runoff is going to take place. But yeah, Keisha is out. Yep, she's out. I haven't met her. Yeah, I haven't been to anything here in Atlanta where she's been present. But yeah, sis is out. She's moving on. I'm not mad at her. So she's passing the torch. But like I said, anybody who's been over Atlanta since I've been here, they don't play games when it comes to, making sure things are kosher as far as with the city, with the events, things like that. So I have no doubt that they're going to continue to do what they need to do to keep things going in the right direction. So they don't have these kind of problems. Yeah, Keisha's, I mean, she's cool. I don't really know her like I said, she's the mayor of Atlanta. So that's Fulton County. I live in Gwinnett County. So I'm in the suburbs of like your metro Atlanta. But Keisha came in, she did her little 2-year run, and she's like, it's time to go. So she's passing the torch on to the next. But I'm gonna continue to watch this. Like I said, every day something's new coming out with this with this Travis. It's like playing double dutch. Like, okay, let me jump in now and try to cover something, and just trying to find the opportunity with my schedule to kind of jump on and come out here and talk to the people about it. I definitely want to know what you all think. Thank you for anybody who was able to catch this live, who's commented. Even if you do the playback, please drop a comment if you have any new updates, or let me know how you feel about all of this. Like I said, I feel like, Travis needs to hold some type of, responsibility for this. Not all, of course, there's other people, but he needs to not be left out. Drake, I don't know enough to throw his name in there to see if, let me know. Do you feel like Drake need to be kind of take some of this heat too? I don't know enough about his presence there and, why people feel like, oh, look, he needs some of this smoke too. I don't know. So I'm right now, I don't have an opinion on Drake. To me, he was just one of many people who were there that night. So Travis Scott is the one who I'm like, yes, go ahead and write them checks, sir, and do better. So me see. I liked watching her press conference, and Trump was trying to sue Atlanta. Keisha, she's tough. You know, she goes toe to toe with our governor, Kemp, a lot. They didn't have a good relationship at all. So that was interesting to see the governor and the mayor kind of go head to head. It was kind of like, I guess, in New York, where their mayor and governor, Cuomo, and what's the other guy? They were kind of not ever kind of really seeing eye to eye like that. So Keisha and our governor Kemp, they were not feeling each other at all. So I think, you know, Keisha, she just seemed like, nah, this just not working for me. It's just not what I think just came down to. It's not, the experience hasn't been what she thought it was going to be. I feel like she's not as free to do with the city what she thought she would be able to do with it, you know, based off of her vision. And, you know, there's politics and everything. And I think she's seeing that, you know, that you may be the face of something that shows that you're in control, but really behind the scenes, you really not. You know, a lot of times you like the president, you might see them as the face of, oh, they're the ones making the decisions, but there's certain people that got to approve these things that they do. So I think he should kind of learn that, yeah, I'm the one to get the heat for certain things, but at the end of the day, I'm not the one who's really at the top pulling the strings. I'm just the face. So people just see me as the face of Atlanta and what's going on. And I think she's not appreciating, say, taking the heat for a lot of stuff that she don't feel maybe she's responsible for, because, you know, at the end of the day, she's not the one who's really pulling the strings or making a decision. I have 2 cousins there. Yeah, I have quite a bit of family that's here. I'm from West Coast, from California, but I got siblings and cousins and aunts and, you know, people who've since moved here. Drake got caught in the crossfire. Yes, he did. You know, Cuomo, de Blasio. That's it. So I remember them having smoke for each other. So that was how it was with Keisha and our governor. So it was, everybody here know that no, they didn't like each other. So they tried to put on a united front, but it didn't work. It didn't work. So our governor, he's still around. I don't see him going anywhere anytime soon. So, but Keisha said deuces. So like I said, I'm not mad at her. She got to do what's best for her and her family. Oh yeah, no wonder. You're so cool. Yes, West Side. I'm from the Bay Area. Yep, right outside of San Francisco. Warriors, Raiders, yeah, that's where I'm from. So that's my hometown. But I've been in Georgia for many years. But West Side, you know, West Side till I die. You know, from West Side, California. So it's a whole different kind of vibe out there. But I'm in Georgia, so you know, Georgia's cool, but I'm West Coast, baby, West Coast. So I'll always rep West Coast. But again, you guys, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for joining. If you're new to my channel, I am your girl Chic. I come on here. I'm like a ghost, a bandit. You just never know when I'm kind of going to pop up. That's just how I am with really I'm on Bigo. I just kind of pop up. If any of you familiar with that, I've been really giving a lot of energy to that lately. It's so cool. Are you familiar with Bigo? Like, you could just pop up, go on there and just vibe out. I like it because, you know, I don't have to worry about content and, you know, doing all the research. You just kind of pop on there and people kind of join and start vibing with you. So I have a pretty big following on there. I just kind of just do pop-ups, pop-ins when I can on there. So that's where I've been at a lot. But I think it's a cool app. It's just really interesting. It reminds me almost like I don't know what OnlyFans is like, but it just reminds me of maybe how an OnlyFans would be, where you kind of go in these different rooms and you don't know what's behind the door. But except for a Bigo, you don't have to pay. Like, you know, there's features where you can pay to give people like things, but I'm still trying to figure all that out. So I don't even worry about that part. I just kind of jump on vibe out with the people. Most of the time I'm just kind of in my car, I'm, playing music or whatever, but it's just like, I'm just really random with that as well. But I do make a presence over there more so nowadays than YouTube, just because YouTube takes more time and I have to kind of plan and, all of that. Hey, that's cool. Yeah. So Nisi, check out Bigo if you're familiar with that. So I am on there. I'm under there under Chic. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I said, I like it. All kinds of random people. It's very interesting. It's definitely different from YouTube, but it's cool. It's a change up. It's very kind of lighthearted or whatever, and you make it do what it do over there. So that's where I've been kind of spending time at over there. But I jump on here and there, but I want to definitely come on tonight to finally talk about the Travis Scott situation. There's so much that still can even be said that I didn't say. There's so many people out there who has content just talking about just the details and everything about it. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So tonight I kind of was just kind of more so focusing on the more current stuff, the updates. If you missed some of this, definitely catch the playback. I did talk about the ninth person who has been pronounced dead as a result of the Astro Festival. The lawsuit that the family for the 9-year-old boy, Ezra, who's now in a in medical induced coma. And I also, talked about the young man from 2017 who was left paralyzed following a Travis Scott concert. So I cover quite a bit. So check it out. Drop a comment. Let me know how you feel. Share this live. Hit the notification bell. Subscribe. I'm a growing channel. I do thank you all for your support. And I just try to come on here and make it do what it do. And just give you my little point of view. So I do thank you all again. Oh yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, isn't it cool? Like, yeah, Bigo, it's cool. My husband doesn't like it. I think he don't like it because of, the fans that I have there, because, the energy there is different from YouTube. Like on Bigo, like you quickly, people kind of will just jump on and just right away in a matter of seconds, you got these people who are just kind of like looking at you and commenting and things like that. Like it's different than like YouTube, it ain't the same, to me, YouTube is kind of, it's not as live interactive, at least for me on my channel, as it is, because I'm still kind of smaller, but like some people's channels are very like live interactive. That's not really how my channel is at this time. But on Bigo, it's just, it be popping like right away. It's live. So I think, just from a man, like, that he just don't really like that, because it's the men, they're there. They're letting they're there, but I like it though. It's cool. I enjoy getting on there. Enjoy your evening. He's being protective. Oh, yes, girl. But my things, I have to play it safe, on there. So I jump on there, but I don't really vibe out to do one-on-one conversations with people like that. I messed around, accidentally pressed the button one time, and I just started getting all these people, like men. I don't know why they were coming from Africa, like doing these live videos with me. So I never made that mistake again by pressing that button. So now when I go on there, I try not to be pressing stuff, because I don't want to get into like one-on-one like conversations with people like that. I kind of just want to go on there, do what it is I do. If you make a comment in text, maybe I'll respond to that. But most of the time I kind of just go on there, do whatever it is I'm doing, which is usually vibing out to music or whatever. And I don't really do a lot of like verbal like interaction. I might verbally speak, but I try to not have it very personal, just for safety reasons, and all of that. And even, for my comfort and even his comfort. So I play it very safe on there, but I do like it. So I definitely, encourage you guys to kind of check it out. It's free. It's an app called Bigo. It's Bigo. And my name is Chic on there. So you can go and follow me there. But yeah, my presence on there is more heavy than it is on YouTube right now. But thank you for joining in, and thank you, Nisi, for chiming in and, you know, giving me your comments. And yes, I'll be back at it again. You know, maybe I might come out here and do another update, you know, after a little while, when we get like some more updates coming out pertaining to maybe like the investigation, things like that, or anything that I feel like, wow, the people might want to know this. You know, I can come out here, you know, come back, Go Live. Yes, that's it. Yeah, Go Live. It's an app, so I'm sure that's it. Because it's live, so it's no pre, like you can't do any pre-records. Like everything's live. Everything's live. So like you literally just hit the button. So I'll just randomly can hit the live button and I'm just live. And like instantly I'll be like, how do these people come in so fast? Like as soon as I hit the button, like it'll count down from like, I don't know, 5 or 3. It'll like do a countdown before you go live. And it's like, once I hit it counts to 1. Once it goes to 1, you just see these numbers just running up where people are like suddenly live on it. I'm like, I still haven't figured out how the hell those people know so quickly, you know, when you go live, you know, and those numbers are instantly, you know, run up to they can get over 100, you know, and it's just kind of people coming in and out or whatever. So yeah, I just play it safe, you know, on there. I recommend anybody who do join it, you know, just be safe. You know, again, you don't want to share too much information, but it's real cool. So, but I be out there. So if you do join there, follow me on, my name is Chic, CHIC on there. I think that's all. I just have it under Chic. So you can follow me on there. But yes, I will continue to follow this story. If anything kind of, I feel like, you know, I need to come out here and share and bring to the people, I will. If there are any topics or anything that you would like for me to discuss, you know, I always accept those too. You can drop them in the comments. I read my comments. I like, you know, to read your comments. You know, I'll research it, and I feel like it's something that, you know, will be good to bring to the people. I will bring it to you. So I do thank you again. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when sis goes live. I will throw this out. Most of the time when I do go live, it is in the evenings, because that seems to be the best time to do something like this with the way my life is set up. So most of the time it is kind of in the evening time, like after like 8 o'clock usually. Yeah. So, but until the next broadcast, peace.